All right, greetings everybody, and welcome to week number 8. That is right, week number 8 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and what we are going to do in this check-in video, which will be our closeout check-in video, is we are going to go ahead and explore a few other databases. Today, what we are going to do are databases related to job and occupational research, so that'll be something that does come up a lot in your three main types of libraries: public, academic, and K-12. So that is the reason why we're going to focus on those today. I'm also going to give you a few recommendations of classes you should take if you specifically want to be a public services librarian, which is what the reference class prepares you for. And of course, we are going to do a brief state of the course update, but frankly, because this is the last week of the course, there's not much state of the course updating to do. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with, the checkout, the final closeout check-in video. Is what I am recording right now, actually. So this is what you are a part of, but let's go ahead and come out of here and go out here so that you can see what else is going on. As you can see, the only thing that you have left to do, if you haven't done your seventh discussion prompt, the final discussion prompt, go ahead and do that. I do think there are one or two of you who have not done that and you missed the deadline. Go ahead and do it, and I'll give you half credit. That's fine. It's better to do it late than not do it at all. And then also, the semester-long project, I'm recording this on July 24th. You may be watching it later than that. But July 25th is when your semester-long project is due, so that it will be tomorrow night, Friday night at 11:59 p.m. And again, I do not want you all to stress about those too much. There were, I got quite a few questions about just, do we have to do this? Do we have to do that? And I do want to once again reassure you, all you really have to do is, if you answer the question in some sort of logical way, then that's what I'm looking for, okay? Now, as far as your LibGuides are concerned, I can go ahead and tell you this now that you have done the assignment and turned it in. What I can tell you all, because I told you all there would be something that I would share, and it's this right here. It's this right here. What I want you all to know concerning the LibGuide is that really the rubric is built for your success, and that's something that I don't think a lot of you realized or a lot of you were aware of. But yes, the rubric is built for your success, and what I mean by that is the rubric is actually, you get a lot of points basically for putting in some effort and showing up to the event, basically. So really the rubric is built in such a way that you really have to try almost to do bad. You have to really slack off in order to get lower than a 21 out of 25 out of this, okay? So for those of you who are worried about your in a 21 out of 25, by the way, would be a B on the assignment. So for those of you who are worried about, oh my God, that LibGuide assignment, it was this, it was that, oh my God, don't worry. Again, don't worry. The thing is, once you, once I actually grade it, and once you see, how I designate the points within the rubric, once you see that, you'll see that, oh yes, there were a lot of things where we got the points just basically for following the directions. And then from there are a few things to where, like, there are 4 points that it wouldn't necessarily be weird for you to lose, because they are things that might be tied to either more higher level expectations, or they are unstated expectations, which is, I did say before, there are some unstated expectations with the rubric, with the LibGuide. So, but again, most of you are going to get at least a 21, don't worry. And a lot of you are going to get like a 23 or a 24. So again, don't worry, okay? And so when it comes to the class, that's pretty much it. You turn in your semester-long project. I've got 2 discussion boards and 2 assignments, the semester-long project and the LibGuide to grade, and then you will be forever done with this class. And again, if the class seemed like it was kind of stressful because you were basically doing 2 weeks worth of work each week, again, what I want you to take away from it right now is you got this done during the summer, you got it done quickly, and now you got a required course out of the way. And that is something that you should be appreciative of. I would say that when you turn in that semester-long project Friday night, go ahead and after you do that, just have a beer or a glass of wine and say to yourself, I am done, and that was an accomplishment, and I'm proud of my accomplishment. Be proud that you finished this class, because it's not a difficult class, but it can definitely be a stressful class, especially when you take it during the summer semester. And I do hope to see some of you all in my future classes. Other classes that I teach, by the way, are the Cultural Heritage class in spring, Intellectual Freedom and Academic Libraries in the fall, and then the Business Reference class every other spring. And I will mention the Business Reference class again in a minute, but let's talk about those databases now. So again, state of the course update is over. So now what we're going to talk about are 3 resources that you can use for occupational research for and vocational research. And this is for students who, this is largely for students who are trying to do those career essays. And you'll see that in the you'll see freshmen in college having to do those career essays. So this is relevant to academic librarians, and you will see high school students and even middle school students having to do essays about their career paths. So K-12, this is relevant to you as well. And then in the public library, you will have, for any number of reasons, you might have people coming in asking about, okay, what fields are good to go into, what fields are bad to go into, blah, blah, blah. You can get the whole variety of things in the public library. So always be mindful of that. So what we are going to talk about, the resources that we are going to talk about are the, I had to remind myself of the resources. So in addition to Ferguson's and Gale's vocational resources, which we're going to look at, we are also going to look at, I know I was forgetting something, BLS.gov, which is free. That's actually not a database. It's something that you can access now without logging into anything. It's open access, open access, open web. So yes, we are going to look at those 3 resources, and I am actually going to access these through the public library, but please know that a lot of academic libraries have these resources as well, and a lot of K-12 libraries have these resources as well. And so again, these are resources that can be used to do career related research. So let's go ahead. Again, what I'm talking about here are Ferguson's Career Guidance Center, which I'm going to look at after. Actually, I'm going to look at Gale first, because this is more for writing papers and that sort of thing. So we're going to look at the Gale resource first, and this is Gale 1000 Vocations and Careers. I may pause it if it's taking a long time to load. And it is. All right, I'm going to pause this. Okay, so this is Gale 1000 Vocations and Careers, and again, this is more so for the quote-unquote paper writing side. You're not really going to see the information on like field trends and that sort of thing here, but you will see that in Ferguson's, and you will see that on BLS.gov. All right, so what you can do here, though, and I'm actually going to just show you the regular searches. If you want to actually get into the search tools, you are welcome to watch some tutorials and do that on your own, but quite frankly, you don't need those usually. And that's the good thing about this database, is that really when you search this database, the things that you're going to need are going to be, let me just say, the search usually brings those things back. So I've never actually on the desk had to use the topic finder or the subject guide search. And then really when it comes to the publication search, I think that's just there to be a nifty little extra feature, but I don't actually see any practical use for it when you are actually on the desk and attempting to help people. All right, so I like to use dental hygienists as an example for this. So dental hygienists. So let's say you wanted to be a dental hygienist. Let's say you were at a community college and they had a dental hygiene program, and a student needed to do their paper about dental hygiene and their desire to be one. What you can do is you can just put dental hygienist into the search, and then it will default by relevance. I recommend that you leave it at relevance, and then A lot of times, the thing to be aware of with this database is that when you are when you're dealing with students who are like freshmen or high school and middle school students, but they're doing some sort of research on a vocation, a lot of times they're not going to need academic journals. That's the thing. A lot of times what they need is going to come from things like magazines and newspaper clippings and even free stuff over the web. So that's why this really kind of defaults in the magazines. A lot of times, again, you're not going to need to even bother with academic journals and that sort of thing. But again, that option is at least there for you. And then you can filter your results. You've got your filter options over here, date, subjects, document type, so forth and so on. And you can do the search within, which that comes in handy. So a search within would be like within these results, if you had to do something like, I don't know what you do with dental hygienists, but maybe salary or something. Actually, yeah, let's try that. So you could do salary or something like that and see what happens. Okay, that took us down a lot, but, and the first thing that pops up is 2005, so that's not great either, but let's see if we can get, okay, 2023. So yeah, something like this. And then what happens is once you see something that you think will work for you, then you can go ahead and click it, go in, and you will see the full text right there. You get the full text right there in the database. You generally don't need to come out of the database. And then again, you have things like your sample citations. You've got your options for sample citations, downloading, sending it by email or some other thing, print, permalinks, those sorts of things. So you would have pretty much all the information that you would need in here, and then also you would have your the information that you would need for citations, such as your title, your author, your date, the title of the publication. This is the article title. This is the publication title. And then you wouldn't necessarily need like a word link for a citation, but it's still good to have that information as well. So that's pretty much how this database works. And again, so this is what I would direct somebody to instead of something like Academic Search Premier or JSTOR, which again give you information from all over the place. If you had somebody who was doing this type of career research, you might just want to start them in this particular database because this is going to get them the results they need the quickest. Okay. All right. Let's sorry, I hit something I didn't mean to hit, but all right. So that's the nuts and bolts of this database. I hope that recorded on the last piece, but if not, yes. So that is the basics of this database. And now let's go into Ferguson's. One moment. Okay, next up is Ferguson's Career Center, and actually what I'm going to show you within Ferguson's, I'm also pretty much going to show you the same thing within BLS. So, but there are going to be some nuances, there are going to be some features that Ferguson's has that you're not going to find on the government-run website. So it never hurts to use both if you have the time. I would say that quite frankly, you would have to kind of get used to what's in Ferguson's and what's in the Bureau of Labor Statistics database. I mean, Bureau of Labor Statistics website, I'm sorry. You would have to get used to both in order to determine which you would use when generally. But I will say that Ferguson's, a lot of the times, you will find the information faster. It's like especially if you're looking for Outlook and that sort of thing, then Outlook is something that you find that information pretty quickly in Ferguson's, and you don't really have to fish around for it, whereas you might have to fish around on the Bureau of Labor Statistics website if you don't know what you're doing. All right, so when you come to Ferguson's, this is what you are going to see on the landing page. The main thing that you are going to use this database for is the stuff over here in the leftmost box, and that is why it comes first, the exploring careers, so that you can research industries, browse professions. There is a career assessment tool and finding a career path. You can also use these other pieces as well, but they are not used as much, to be honest with you. First of all, as far as preparing for your career, yes, you can get the resume and cover letter information and advice there, but quite frankly, the over-the-web information for how to put together a cover letter is pretty good, and then most libraries tend to have a ton of resume building resources within the library and that sort of thing. But if you need resume and cover letter help, as well as help with networking, interviewing, and workplace skills, you've got that there. plan your education. If you are looking for this type of information, frankly, I recommend that you, no, don't get me wrong, you as the librarian, you have to be the conduit when there is nobody else to help. But this sort of information right here, a lot of times I do recommend they talk to somebody affiliated with the college they may be interested in, who may work in career services, whatever career services office that college may have, as opposed to, I would recommend that over trying to fish around in these resources. But again, if somebody doesn't have other options, then there are some things here that are available to them. We're not going to go over those in this video for the sake of time. And then actually when it comes to finding a career and job postings and that sort of thing, I again would recommend that you use something over the web there, to be honest with you, something like Indeed or Monster, as opposed to and I think even Google now has like some sort of Google Jobs feature. I don't know. I do need to check on that though. But yeah, Google, Monster, Indeed, those sorts of things, I would go to those first before trying to come here. But you can get some really good information over here, and I am actually going to start with the Browse Industries. And so what's neat about this is that you do have your main industries here, your big industries, because for whatever reason, yes, a lot of the people, especially nursing, education, those people come to the library for various types of help. We can go to all industries here, and so you can just kind of see the various industries that we've got, that they kind of cover. So as you can see, they've got the big topics, such as education, human services, consulting, and then they have smaller, more focused information within each of those. So let's go into cosmetology. Is also one that you tend to get a lot with. And so when you actually click one, you would get an industry profile and then related professions. So with the industry profile, and by the way, I'll move myself over here, you've got your table of contents over here. So if you want to view the full article, you can actually click that. And now I have more scroll. You don't see the little scroll piece over here because it's outside of the window. But I've got more room to scroll down now. And so what I have is, first of all, this overview piece, and then I get some background information, structure, industry outlook. The thing about cosmetology is I think the industry outlook is always going to be decent, because people are always going to need to get like their hair and nails and things like that done. And then I don't think that you I don't think that they're under as much of an intense threat from AI as some other professions. Okay. So you get a lot of helpful information right there. And then one of the nice little things about this is that you can, after you get into an industry profile, if you say that this is the type of industry that you're going to want to go into. By the way, IBISWorld, I hope you all, well, if you all take my business reference course, you will understand what IBISWorld is, and you will learn a little bit about how to search it. Anyway, related professions. So once you find an industry that you like, you can see related professions within it. Let's do the image consultant. And from there, you get a profession profile. And then this is where this particular database makes its money, but you can also get very similar information, again, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But you get this overview and you get these quick facts. And the thing is, with the quick facts come such things as median salary, education level, those sorts of things, outlook, about as fast as the average. So outlook would be pertaining to whether or not there are going to be job opportunities within that profession. So the outlook for the image consultant profession, it is growing about as fast as the average. So you would have fair employment prospects. There you go. Is that piece. And then again, you can, I didn't click the view full article thing, so I would have to, in order to go to all these next pieces, I can click history, then the job. And what people, again, tend to be really interested in are the earnings. So you got the earnings there, and then as well as the education requirements, education and training requirements, as well as certification requirements, I should say. And then also they are looking for employment prospects, and Outlook. So those are the things that people tend to look for within this database. And by the way, once I clicked that Browse Professions, that was the same as had I gone back here, and then you can browse professions. What I went into was research industries, but we were just in the Browse Professions after we clicked the image consultant thing. And what I did want to show you all as well is that some of these do also have these little helpful videos. So if you see accountants is one, so the first one we get to. So if you see that little video icon, what you can do is you can click that, and then you can watch a video of somebody within the profession kind of talking about it. And you got a 12-minute video there, so nice and long there. You can speed it up just like you can speed me up, all sorts of things, and get that information right there. So that is Ferguson's. And then I would say don't forget also, though, about the career assessment. I'm not going to go into the assessment tool. I'm not going to really go into that right now, again, for the sake of time. But the career assessment, this is something, a 60 question one and a 30 question one. This is something that you can direct patrons to if they are looking for some sort of, looking to do some sort of career assessment thing. Okay, so there you go with that. And with that said, we will now go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and look at that really quickly. But again, if you want to master these resources, then it takes more than watching a video. You're just going to have to spend some time in them. All right, let's go to BLS.gov. Okay, so here we go with Bureau of Labor Statistics, and there is a lot of good information in here just generally, so it is a good idea to in your downtime, maybe look at some tutorials about the Bureau of Labor Statistics and just try to get whatever information you can, right? Try to actually get a good sense of what's in here. Subjects and data tools tend to be where I spent most of my time whenever I needed to use this resource. I didn't really go into publications or economic releases too much, but the subjects and the data tools, that's really where you get a lot of the good information. So it wouldn't be a bad idea, again, to, when you have downtime, when you're not on the desk, to go ahead and just get into this resource and just kind of play around with it, see what it can do, see what it can't do, look at some tutorials and that sort of thing, because I guarantee there will come a time when this is going to be the best resource for you to use for one reason or another, but you would have to know what it can and can't do in order to recognize when it is the best resource. All right, so let's say the main thing that I would, again, use this for would be this. It would be, excuse me, I would be doing a lot of wage data by occupation. This is the main thing that I would be using it for. So this is what we're going to kind of look for right now. But again, there are so many, there is a lot, and I really do mean a lot of information on this government run resource. So again, it's best to just kind of learn the resource, but we don't have time today to get into all of that. What we are going to do is just, I'm gonna input hygiene and do that search, and dental hygienist comes up here. And so again, you can get like that's information that we were just talking about with Ferguson's. You can get similar information here. So dental hygienist, this is occupational employment and wages for May 2020, so it's about 5 years old, so I apologize for that. But you've got a mean annual wage there, which is pretty good. That must mean that a lot of these people, by the way, this does not account for experience level and that sort of thing, right? So when you see something like this for dental hygienists, it might be that a lot of these people have done the job for a long time. Okay, it wouldn't surprise me if that were the case there. But you have hourly medians and that sort of thing. So you do see that you do have 10% of people who are kind of in that salary range, and then things get higher and higher as you go up. Okay. And so you get, this is good information here by state, the amount of employees in that roll by state and that sort of thing. So you see Texas has a lot, North Carolina, Georgia, they're dark. And so they have the higher, the higher number of dental hygienists and that sort of thing. Now I scrolled back up because from here, this is very important to have as well. So the geographic profile, I don't do quite as much with, but when it comes to industry profile, there is, oh, sorry, that was not what I wanted. Sorry, hold on. Okay, yes, I did manage to confuse myself. Maybe that means I'm great or something. Don't the great ones confuse themselves? I don't know. Okay, but yes, I did manage to confuse myself. This is really what I wanted to show you all here. When I was looking for industry profile, this is really what I wanted, and I went to the wrong thing. So, just a little rusty. So if you go to home and then occupations, this is really what I wanted here, was the occupational outlook handbook. And this is where you're really going to find that information that is very similar to Ferguson. So if I put in dental hygiene, click here, and you get dental hygienist by occupational outlook handbook. And here you go. You're going to see that this information looks very similar to what we saw in Ferguson's, but I would say that perhaps two sources is better than one. So you've got that summary information here. Median pay, which that went up in 2020. It was just 70 something. Now it is 90 something. You need an associate's degree to do it. There's no on-the-job training. You pretty much, I've seen a lot of community college students that just kind of go and get the training through the community college, so they don't really have the on-the-job training and that sort of thing. Number of jobs as of 2023, you've got a pretty good number there. Outlook, 9% growth, so that's much faster than average, and that's something that people do look into. They look into that job outlook and growth. And then what you can do is you've got your various tabs up here. So if you want the information for what they do, go right there, work environment, right there, pay, right there, job outlook, state and area data. I'm not about to get into that right now. So yes, and this is the main thing that I use this resource for, okay? But yes, you can get there are a lot of data tools and things that you can learn. So again, there is a lot here, and probably within your downtime on the desk, your downtime away from the desk, that's when you want to really master when you would use the Bureau of Labor Statistics website. So having said that, let me just say a few other things real quick. First of all, I did enjoy having you all in this course, and I do hope to have you all in courses again someday. And I did tell you all the courses that I teach earlier in the video. The other thing that I do want to share at this time is that if you want to be a public services librarian, there are two other specific, let's say you really, really want to be a public services reference librarian. There are two other classes that I recommend you take. This was not what I wanted. Come on. Okay. Two other classes that you should take. So we've got the full course list here. And if we scroll down, the two that okay. This is one of them. So again, if you really, really want to be a public services librarian and you get off on working with the public and that sort of thing, then the two classes that I recommend, one is going to be the Health and Medical Information and Services in Libraries. And the reason for that is if you are a just general reference librarian, you are going to get questions about everything. You are going to get questions about education. You're going to get questions about nursing, and you're going to get questions about the bus schedule in town, and you're going to get questions about starting up a business, and so forth and so on. So you're going to get a whole variety of questions. And two types of questions that will really catch your just general reference librarian off guard if they do not spend time with these resources are health, nursing, and medical questions, and then also business questions. So if you don't want to be caught off guard, but you want to have that skill set related to health and medical, then I recommend 9416, the Health and Medical Information and Services in Libraries class. And this class will help you with again, learning the medical databases and that sort of thing, and knowing how to serve especially knowing how to serve like a academic library that has a big medical program, like the university has like a big med school or something like that. Okay. If you are at a university of that level, then yes, this is definitely a class that you would want to take in preparation for that. And again, you would get a lot of good information on how to field nursing questions, medical questions. You would be working with Ovid technologies and PubMed and things like that. And learning in CINAHL and learning how to search those databases. And I am terrible with health resources, terrible with them. I'm not so bad with business resources, and that would be the other thing. The class that I teach would be the other class that I recommend for you in this case, and that would be 9449, which is services for business communities and entrepreneurs. When you take that class with me, we talk about the different types of business databases, the types of things that business librarians do, and that sort of thing. And by the way, I am a former business librarian for Coastal Carolina University near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I do have experience in that area. I'm not the best business librarian around by any means, but I am competent enough in business librarianship to teach the business librarian class due to my previous experience. Okay, so there we go with that. Those two classes, again, 9416 and 9449. Those are classes that if you are going to specifically be a public services librarian, I recommend you take those classes. And with that said, the last thing I want to say is just thank you for being a part of the class. Thank you for toughing it out this summer. Again, I know it's not easy to take a class that's this heavy in a summer semester. I get that, but at the same time, you're doing so, got a monkey off your back, and now, again, you can just relax. You can say to yourself, I accomplished something this summer. I got something out of the way that I was going to have to do anyway. I didn't postpone it. I got it out of the way, and now I don't have to worry about it ever again in life. All right. So yes, you have, I feel, made a wise decision by staying in the class, and I hope that you feel rewarded by that decision by having this monkey off of your back and going into the fall able to take some classes that you may be more interested in. But with that said, I am Dr. Jason. You have finished the race. Congratulations, and I hope to see you in the future.